Faculty and administrative colleagues, returning students who are here today, and above all others today, of course, members of this great class of 2017, and any transfer and exchange students who may also be here, welcome to Colby and to this assembly, the traditional and ceremonial start to the new academic year. For at least 60 years, all new Colby students have been formally welcomed in this way and in this place. Faculty, as you saw, lead the way, dressed in academic regalia. This is one of your first encounters with them. And as Terry said, their presence here symbolizes the heart of the enterprise and what we are up to, students and teachers gathered together in extended conversation about the world and about things that matter. Of all the encounters you will have at Colby, your engagement with faculty is surely the most important. You will return to this place on the eve of your graduation for the baccalaureate service and address when the president and the faculty, looking very much as we do now, will bid you farewell. These are the symbolic bookends of your experience with us. Both of these moments involve, inevitably, presidential advice, and that probably can't be helped. But I'm eager to find less formal ways in which to meet you and get to know you, and maybe to hear your advice for me. You'll find my office hours posted on my website. Please come by, if only to introduce yourselves, that's fine, and I would enjoy that a great deal. Stop me on a campus path when you see me. Find me on the sidelines or in the stands or at an intermission during a performance. Any cyclists among you are welcome to join me for rides. I'd be happy to share my local knowledge of the sometimes choppy Central Maine roads. I usually leave around 6. That's 6 in the morning, by the way. The point is, I want and hope to come to know you. As you've just heard from Dean Terry Cowdery, yours is an outstanding class, and wherever you've come from, and regardless of your specific path to Colby, one thing is certain: you didn't get here by accident. Your presence today is the result of hard work and accomplishment and your thoughtfulness about the choice of the college, one of the most important choices you will ever make. And so now what? What does your choice mean? The fact that Colby is both small and residential means that learning here is a 24/7 proposition. Your educational experiences will not be limited to the classrooms or laboratories or studios, though these are places of special importance. We know that learning goes on everywhere here, in your residence halls and dining rooms, on athletic fields, in late-night discussions about issues that have come up in class, in all kinds of social encounters that you'll have with one another. In many of these places and moments, you will learn primarily from and with each other. Colby has a strategic plan for student life called Colby 360, and in it we set out some of the ways in which we support and encourage your learning across the campus. You won't always know when that plan is working, but you can be certain that we've thought a lot about the things we hope you'll be learning outside the classroom. Those things include how to be effective communicators and problem solvers, how to understand and value human diversity and difference, how to be committed citizens of the Colby community, how to lead. This small residential community also presents the opportunity to explore other parts of yourselves, your capabilities, your limitations. Not all of those explorations, I predict, will be easy or simple. Experiencing our personal limits and understanding our strengths and weaknesses can be sobering and challenging, and living well with other people is hard work at times. It takes self-awareness and restraint and perseverance and even courage. But the learning is powerful, and it will have important consequences for all of you down the road. One of the most important things you'll learn about here at Colby is friendship, which is one of the greatest gifts the college has to give. As I travel around the country and meet alumni in every part of the United States and indeed around the world, and as I greet them at homecoming and reunion, I'm always impressed and gratified to see how deep and continuous their friendships are. In coming to Colby, you chose not only a small residential college where learning takes place around the clock, you also chose as well a place that is committed to the liberal arts ideal of undergraduate education. And that part of Colby's identity and your choice is also full of meaning and consequence. It means first and foremost that you chose a place committed to the notion that the best education is one that seeks a broad and rich understanding of our own and other people's experiences. With your considerable abilities and talents, you could have gone to very good but different kinds of places, to large research universities or to professional and pre-professional schools where specialization and technical knowledge rule, but you didn't. You came to Colby. And Colby, as our mission statement puts us, is committed to the belief that the best preparation for life, and especially for the professions that require specialized study, is a broad acquaintance with human knowledge. Some years ago, the faculty defined this broad acquaintance by advancing 10 fundamental intellectual precepts of liberal learning. The precepts are a roadmap of sorts, and you'll know you're on the road and on the map when you can read through them and see your strengths reflected. You'll be a critical thinker who can communicate your ideas in speaking and writing. You will have tested your assumptions, gone outside of your comfort zone to learn about those whom you see as different and other. You'll have engaged with different points of view and done so with respect and with an open mind. You will have changed your mind, sometimes repeatedly, based on new insights and information. You will have found in your major the spark that ignites your intellect, and your broad tour of the curriculum will have prepared you not just for a profession, but for how you will live your life. As you create your path through Colby, an occasional check-in with the precepts will help you assess how you're doing and where you're going. And in case you don't keep a copy of the precepts on your tablet or iPhone, I'll offer the following shorthand suggestion. Explore. Don't be afraid to try new and different things. Push beyond your current boundaries and horizons. Take some chances. Your Colby education is a process of intellectual empowerment, and you deserve to make the most of it. But let me also say, it isn't all about you in isolation. And two basic attributes are especially important to your collective success in this small, intimate college setting. I think of them as the cardinal virtues of these communities. The first is a passionate and committed engagement with the work that we do together, and the second is civility, the capacity to engage in this work in a deeply respectful and supportive way. We've learned a lot in recent years about how the intensity of student engagement affects outcomes. The research can be distilled pretty simply. The more actively and intensely you're engaged with your work here, and the more varied the forms of that engagement, the more meaningful, richly rewarding, and successful you and we will be. By engagement, I mean a certain attitude on your part, inquisitive and curious and eager, but engagement also implies involvement. Colby offers you opportunities to work with faculty in real and consequential forms of scholarship. Intensity of interest is one of the things that faculty respond to best, and when you express your interest intensely, you will find that this faculty will be very responsive indeed. You'll also find your academic programs are loaded with other chances for you to engage outside the classroom, lectures and advisory groups and discussion groups, informal intellectual encounters with one another, not to mention practical learning and public service of various kinds in Waterville and Central Maine and beyond, where what you learn in the classroom gets tested against the stuff of the world beyond the campus. One kind of engagement that I'm sure we would all agree is essential to the sort of educational experience we provide is involvement in the world around you. Whatever the object of your enthusiasms, you should know that the desire to influence events along with the skill to do so are among the fundamental goals of liberal learning. Which brings me to virtue number 2, civility. Engagement, especially political engagement, brings with it certain obligations. The first is an appetite among all of us for new ideas and a tolerance for debate and exchange and disagreement. When large and important topics are at issue, the discussion here can be a little noisy, and indeed it should be, for we really can't understand important questions without challenging one another and ourselves. But this need for debate and exchange must proceed and be informed by our common commitment to respect. Even when you disagree most energetically, even heatedly, your capacity to summon a fundamental regard for one another is essential to our continuing work together. As important as it is, respect will not protect you from a feeling a certain level of intellectual discomfort here, at times deeply personal, as you make your way through Colby. Inevitably, and perhaps especially in your interactions with one another, your fundamental assumptions and beliefs are going to be challenged here. That's the way it should be. If everything you currently think about the world remained comfortably in place throughout your time here, we would have failed you in a fairly serious way. You need to remember that. And you also need to be able to engage in the hard but rewarding work of staying open and engaged in spite of your discomfort. And that's, of course, where listening comes in. Your capacity to listen to one another is terribly important, and I predict that at some point someone's words or beliefs will strike you as so wrong-headed, so thoroughly off-base and clueless that you will want to walk away. But that is precisely the time to catch yourselves and summon your best listening skills. The flip side of listening, of course, is speaking to others in a way that invites their listening, conversation, further response. You can't really benefit from new and unfamiliar people or ideas unless you are prepared to get to know them. What I'm talking about then is a delicate balance between two very powerful values, because our educational mission requires the unconstrained exploration of ideas and the questioning of received wisdom. We place a very high value on freedom of expression. But it's terribly important to remember that our commitment to free expression is not a license to say whatever comes into your heads in any tone of voice, no matter how smart or compelling or important it might seem. The academic freedom we value and protect exists alongside our concern for community. The one is incomprehensible without the other. And at times these values exist in uneasy tension, but one never completely trumps the other. So, respect, curiosity, tolerance for discomfort, capacity to engage in extended conversation about demanding, maybe even threatening topics. These are some of the requirements of membership in a community of learners and teachers and truth seekers. So, you've chosen to be at a small residential college, a liberal arts college with all the attendant meetings that I've mentioned. But it's not just any college, it's Colby, and it's in central Maine. And these facts are important too. Colby has its own special history, and that history is embodied in the generations of students and faculty who have been here and who remain part of our current lives. It is also present in Waterville, whose citizens twice saved the college from ruin and made it possible for you and all of us to be sitting here today. You may not be ready yet to read one of the three comprehensive and very interesting histories that have been written about Colby, or even to watch our bicentennial film, though I hope you will someday. But you can trust me when I say that before you graduate, you will want to know the stories behind the names on our buildings, and you will be moved by the many sacrifices and courage of so many students who have come before you. As a small taste of what there is to discover when you leave here today, on the way, I hope, to signing the enrollment book down in Pulver Pavilion, have a look at the summit of the tower on Miller Library. You'll notice a weather vane in the shape of a sailing vessel. It's an image of the sloop Hero, the ship that brought Colby's first president, Jeremiah Chaplin, to central Maine in 1818. Chaplin was the first faculty member appointed by the board following the granting of the charter of the state of Massachusetts in 1813 to the Maine Literary and Theological Institute, Colby's name at the time of its founding. Chaplin sailed from Boston on June 20th, 1818, he brought with him his wife, Marcia, 5 children, and 7 students, the first at Colby. The trip took 5 days. Marcia was seasick throughout. That's a detail I find especially poignant. When Chaplin arrived, there were no buildings, there were no faculty, no students beyond those with him. No one in this small, heroic band had the resources to pay for college, let alone start one, but somehow they did pay for it with gifts that Jeremiah Chaplin solicited from perfect strangers in towns and villages throughout New England. And you and we are here today, the beneficiaries of Chaplin's hard work, the generosity of thousands upon thousands of people, alumni and citizens of Waterville, employees of the college, and so many more, with almost unlimited possibilities before you. Seize them. Embrace, too, the town and region that are now in important ways your home. Because our lives on Mayflower Hill are so intensely focused on our own work, it's sometimes hard to recall the ties that bind us to Waterville and Central Maine, but I think it's true to say that your experience here will not be complete if you do not develop a sense of place that includes this very interesting community. As you already know from one of your exercises during orientation, there are several ways you can pursue this sense of place. The first is the easiest. Make your way downhill often to Waterville, explore Main Street. As you do so, keep in mind that it's not a shopping mall or a box store complex. It's infinitely more interesting than that and vastly more real. Second, a much more substantial opportunity will come in myriad forms of civic engagement and community service afforded by Colby Waterville connections. I recommend this form of engagement not simply because I know you will have many contributions to make, you surely will, but also because I know how much you can learn from getting to know your neighbors and being involved in their lives. I know you will find them grateful for your engagement. A third opportunity comes in the various forms Colby provides for you to explore this beautiful and fascinating region of Maine, whether it's skiing at Sugarloaf or trips to Portland and Augusta or visits to the coast or the nearby lakes. A great deal is in store for you if you take the time and make the effort to get out. So these are some of the meanings that we who welcome you here today ascribe to your choice of a small residential liberal arts college in Central Maine. I hope they coincide with some of the things you had in mind when you chose Colby. For this experience and the successes and growth it will bring is a partnership among us. 4 years from now, when you gather again in this place for the last time, you will be on the verge of assuming your places in the world beyond Colby. Between now and then, you have a singular opportunity, one that will never be repeated in your lifetimes, to focus on the development of your talents and interests and basic intellectual capacities. I urge you to seize this opportunity with all the zeal and energy you can muster. You won't be sorry for the effort. As you know, this is the last class that I will greet as president of Colby. I'm sorry that I won't be able to see you through to commencement, but there is a sense in which I will never forget you or any of the other students I have been privileged to welcome to the college. For you are the promise of the college, and you are unforgettable for it. So let me say it formally. Welcome to Colby and to this community of intellectual life and friendship, exploration, and discovery. You chose well. Good luck, thanks for listening, and have a wonderful first year at Colby.